Happy Saturday, everybody. It is November the 6th, 2021, day 295 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, another 3 year second day count, day 963. Today, guys, we're going to read Psalm 74 to 76. And then we're going to pick up what we left off in Caesar's Messiah yesterday on page 146. Finish writing this. What? Not Caesar's. I know it. Caesar's Messiah. I watched the video yesterday. I caught myself saying Caesar's Messiah towards the end of the video when I was ending it. Not Caesar's Messiah. Shakespeare's Secret Messiah. I tend to do that from time to time. After we finish reading something, I'll name the previous book or the book that we just got finished reading, like I did that a few times after we got done reading Legends of the Jews too. Levon, hey, girl, hey. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and do the Shema. Forgive me for my tardiness, y'all. Look, today I overslept. I was up last night, and I couldn't go to sleep because I was out working on some stuff. I figured, sometimes I get like this burst of energy where I just can't sleep all night. And so I'll start working on some paperwork for the company, and then once I start working on it, I don't want to break my train of thought and stuff because I'm flowing and getting it done. Yeah, before I know it, it was after 3. Everybody was asleep. So nobody was here to disturb me. So I'm just working on contract paperwork and just, before I knew it, it was after 3, and I set my clock. And I set my clock and I put my headphones in my ears. So I would hear it, because if I have my headphones in my ears, it'll seem to resound and shake my entire body. I didn't even hear that. I didn't even hear that. So, yeah. So, but I didn't hear it when it went off. I heard it after we were supposed to be live this morning. Trina, hey, girl, hey. Okay, y'all. So, the Shema. Kind of Deuteronomy chapter 6, starting at verse 3. Y'all remember the spiel, right? Okay. Hear, therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily, as Yahuwah, the mighty one of our fathers, has promised us, in a land that flows with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah, our mighty one, he is one. He is one. And you shall love Yahuwah, your mighty one, with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them upon the posts of your house and on your gates. And Yahuwah commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear Yahuwah, our mighty one, for our good always, that he might preserve us alive, as it is at this day. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before Yahuwah, our mighty one, as he has commanded us. I left my bottle of water. I was just drinking it. That's why I was searching for y'all. I'm sorry. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me move this out of the way. Change that. Anybody spot the new moon last night? I didn't. I didn't spot it because I was in an appointment and I didn't get out till late. And so by the time I got out, it had already come and gone. If it showed, but I did check last night and there were no reports yet. Matter of fact, let me check before I start reading. Go to my let me check the website. Let's see. Yes, it showed. Yep, it was confirmed. Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sightings based on eyewitness reports without regard to their personal beliefs or affiliations. Steps are taken to assure reports are accurate and truthful. Okay. Yeah, so but well, Texas is always one of the first ones to show. So it was spotted in Durban, South Africa, Abilene, Texas, and Curtistown, Hawaii. Let me check a little bit later because sometimes they don't have all the names of the places who reported. But it said Israel had no observers report sightings today and will wait until the following day, November the 6th, at the end of the 30th day there. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna check again a little bit later today and see if they've updated the sightings, y'all. Okay. So let's get started with some Auntie Belinda Brown. Hey, Carol. Hey, Yahuwah is one. Shalom. Shalom. All right, y'all. Let me move this back out the way. Okay. Psalm 74. A psalm of Asaph. Asaph. Shalom. Shalom. Oh Yah, why have you rejected us so long? Why is your anger so intense against the sheep of your own pasture? Remember that we are the people you chose long ago, the tribe you redeemed as your own special possession. And remember Jerusalem, your home here on the earth. Walk through the awful ruins of the city. See how the enemy has destroyed your sanctuary. There, your enemies shouted their victorious battle cries. There, your enemies shouted their victorious battle cries. There, they set up their battle standards. They swung their axes like woodcutters in the forest. With axes and picks, they smashed the carved paneling. They burned your sanctuary to the ground. They defiled the place that bears your name. Then they thought, let's destroy everything. So they burnt down all the places where Yahuwah was worshipped. We no longer see your miraculous signs. All the prophets are gone, and no one can tell us when it will end. How long, O Yah, will you allow our enemies to insult you? Will you let them dishonor your name forever? Why do you hold back your strong right hand? Unleash your powerful fist and destroy them. Oh, Yah, you are my king from ages past, bringing salvation to the earth. You split the sea by your strength and smashed the heads of the sea monsters. You crushed the heads of Leviathan and let the desert animals eat him. You caused the springs and the streams to gush forth, and you dried up rivers that never run dry. Both day and night belong to you. You made the starlight and the sun. You set the boundaries of the earth, and you made both summer and winter. See how these enemies insult you, O Yah. A foolish nation has dishonored your name. Don't let these wild beasts destroy your turtle doves. Don't forget your suffering people forever. Remember your covenant promises, for the land is full of darkness and violence. Don't let the downtrodden be humiliated again. Instead, let the poor and needy praise your name. Arise, O Yah, and defend your cause. Remember how these fools insult you all day long. Don't overlook what your enemies have said or their growing uproar. Next chapter, Psalm chapter 75. It's for the choir director. It's a psalm of Asaph, a song to be sung to the tune, Do Not Destroy. We thank you, O Yah. We give thanks because you are near. People everywhere tell of your wonderful deeds. Yahuwah says, at the time I have planned, I will bring justice against the wicked. When the earth quakes and its people live in turmoil, I am the one who keeps its foundations firm. I warned the proud, stop your boasting. I told the wicked, don't raise your fists. Don't raise your fists in defiance at the heavens or speak with such arrogance. For no one on earth, from east or west, or even from the wilderness, should raise a defiant fist. It is Yah alone who judges. He decides who will rise and who will fall. For Yahuwah holds a cup in his hand that is full of foaming wine mixed with spices. He pours out the wine in judgment, and all the wicked must drink it, draining it to the dregs. But as for me, I will always proclaim what Yahuwah has done. I will sing praises to the God of Jacob. For Yahuwah says, I will break the strength of the wicked, but I will increase the power of the godly. Last chapter for the day, y'all. Psalm chapter 76. It is also for the choir director. It is a psalm of Asaph, a song to be accompanied by stringed instruments. Yahuwah is honored in Judah. His name is great in Israel. Jerusalem is where he lives. Mount Zion is his home. For there he has broken the fiery arrows of the enemy, the shields and the swords and weapons of war. You are glorious and more majestic than the everlasting mountains. Our boldest enemies have been plundered. They lie before us in the sleep of death. No warrior could lift a hand against us. At the blast of your breath, O God of Jacob, their horses and chariots lay still. No wonder you are greatly feared. Who can stand before you when your anger explodes? From heaven, you sentenced your enemies. The earth trembled and stood silent before you. You stand up to judge those who do evil, O Yah, and to rescue the oppressed of the earth. Human defiance only enhances your glory, for you use it as a weapon. Make vows to Yahuwah your God and keep them. Let everyone bring tribute to the awesome one, for he breaks the pride of princes, and the kings of the earth fear him. And that, my beautiful people, is our reading for today from the Holy Writ. So let us now pick up where we left off at. Playing around, drop my pen. All right, y'all. Okay. Got my pen. Let's pick up where we left off at. Is that page 146? Which is the rest. What's it? Who say this was? Chapter 4, yes. We're learning about Shakespeare, who she really is, right? Emilio Bassano. Let me adjust this. Okay. All right. So let's go back up. Okay. Emiliana Bassano was born in London to Margaret Johnson and Baptista. And Baptista was generally not what? Oh, okay. I was reading it like too fast, not with the appropriate space so you can get it. Okay. Emilia Bassano was born in London to Margaret Johnson, and Baptista was generally acknowledged as Johnson's domestic partner, the father of the child. In his will, Baptista referred to Margaret as my reputed wife, a hedged statement that might conceivably have been related to religious differences. However, Margaret's will clearly identified Baptista as her husband. Margaret Johnson apparently had close relationships with the members of the radical Protestant movement, which might have complemented the possibly radical Jewish viewpoint coming out of the Bassano side of the family. Reference 60. Emilia was christened at St. Botolph, Bishopgate, the London neighborhood where foreign musicians and theater folk lived, on January 27th, 1569. That's reference 61. Jake, shalom, shalom. There is a court document given below showing that Emilia's uncles had a confrontation with the authorities in which they were described as being black in skin color and of talking back sharply to the sheriff. Yeah, that would do. That would do. Quote, on on the 22nd of September 1584, John Spencer, a former sheriff of London, asked by the Crown to account for his behavior towards Arthur, Edward the First and Geronimo the Second Bassano, which were committed to ward or prison for their misdemeanor, twice went out of his way to point out that neither he nor any of his fellow law officers knew the identity of the men they were arresting. The occasion was a street skirmish caused by the blocking up of the street by the authorities, which angered the residents who began dismantling the blockage. End quote. At this point, the Basanos came near to the site and stayed talking and looking at the work until they, too, were ordered to leave. They effed soon. It says effed. They effed soons very obstinately refused, saying to Spencer, "This is the Queen's ground, and we will stand here." When told that if they would not depart by fair means, they would be sent to ward. One of them, a little black man who was booted, answered in a very despiteful manner, saying, "Send us to ward? Thou were as good, be the words with reverence name, kiss our, etc." And another of them, yeah, that was, yeah. And another of them, being a tall black man, said, "Sure, Spencer, we have as good friends in the court as thou hast, and better too." And that's reference 62. While the document may seem innocuous, it is absolutely critical to understanding the Shakespearean literature. The passage shows that though the Basanos, swarthy Sephardic Jews, were routinely called black by the English, even though they were not of African Negro descent, Emilia was actually called the Moor by her family. This might mean that she had especially dark skin and this might mean that she had especially dark skin and been a bright target for racial insults, or perhaps she and her family may have been especially conscious of the darkness of her skin in contrast to her English mother. The many Moors or Ethiopies of the play and the black mistress of the sonnets may be readily explained as Emilia Bassano's response to English discrimination against blacks such as herself. Reference 63. Now, this is when this is in the 1500s, right? Slavery, well, no, I take that back. The transatlantic slave trade started approximately 1619. But before the transatlantic slave trade, there was the Spanish Inquisition and also it was three of them. They actually go together and they're spaced apart in some years, but what we only really hear about is the start of everything in 1619. And although that's when I would say the last majority of it began as they began to disperse the blacks out, right? Um, but yeah, it was a Spanish. If you're looking at the transatlantic slave trade, you absolutely must look at the Spanish Inquisition. What was the other one? I used to talk about them a lot early in the first year. It was what was the third? I ain't looked at it in so long I forgot the third one. But anyway, but it's three of them that go together and connect. They all connect, right? But I said all that to say that they was experiencing. Sometimes you'll hear, oh, race didn't really become a thing until after like the 1619 or during that time. But it was happening way before then, right? And she was born um in the early in 1548, right? So this right here, what we was just reading, this was happening in 1584, right? Okay, so I'll read this last sentence again. The many Moors or Ethiopians, remember also we learned, look, this is funny that he has this is correct information I was giving y'all. Remember when I was talking about the Moors and how they removed it from the Geneva version of the Bible, which is the 1500s, mind you. I believe that particular version was 1599. King James really had an issue with it because it went against what he thought should have been there. But King James was real spooky, scary, and superstitious and stuff too, and some other things. So he actually had people murdered for that particular version and a couple versions earlier that still had the truth of things in there when they were trying to change and whitewash. Not, I don't know that that's a good word, but that's, or change history to make it look a certain way. But this was during that time. But in those versions, the color of the original people, who the Jews or the Hebrews really were, is clear throughout all the earlier versions, as they refer, when they referred to them, it said either more or black more, right? To be very specific. And it used both more and black more, right? But everywhere that they had more and black more, they replaced those words and put Ethiopian, right? We talked about that in extent sometime. Jake said, I just saw an interview where Kanye West, the rapper, said blacks are the tribe of Judah. I was shocked. The word is spreading like wildfire. Yeah, it's being more uh what's the word? More public. I think it's growing as fast as it is because of social media, but it was something really well known back in the day. It really was. Marie, Shabbat Shalom. It was really well known, and kind of like, if you grew up in a place or an environment that didn't really talk about those things or really didn't have history, it would seem like it wasn't known, but it was really known. It was really well known by a lot of other people groups, but they took great strides in removing it and not showing who the people were, to portray to you that the current set of people that they call Jews was really the people, right? So it was so many shenanigans behind all of this just to push this certain narrative, and they got the news stations and media outlets pushing some of the same garbage to kind of keep the lie going, right? But the truth is being revealed in social media and media nowadays too, right? In the age of social media, a lot of truths are being uncovered, right? But it's also being tainted by some nefarious people, to where some people are still kind of like, what? All of this is garbage. Like, they don't know what's true and what's not true. But it's not really hard to figure out if you do more than surface level research. Wasn't King James black before the dispersion of the black man to the islands and the Americas? King James a, was very British, as our monarchy still to this day. You know what? King James was black, right? That's what's crazy. But King James was, I hate to get into this. He was how can I say this? Let me say it in a way not to be derogatory. Yes. Yeah, just say yes, he was. He was, right? But see, I'm trying to watch my words and how I say it. Cuz I could say something, but that would be really derogatory. He was he was one of the more, let's say, one of the more fairer blacks in skin complexion, so to speak, right? And not necessarily the trying look, I'm trying to be politically correct. Let me keep reading. Yeah, let me just keep reading. I might get myself in trouble. For some things I really just don't want to be nice on, but some things I don't want to be nice, but I really want to share. But it's better that I just keep my mouth shut. Okay. The passage also sheds light on another important point: the relationship between the Bissanos and the nobility, being both black and constantly under the threat of execution as secret practitioners of Judaism, Whether or not such an accusation was even true, the Basanos played a high stakes game in the Elizabethan England. In order to survive such a hostile environment, they needed the protection of friends in the court. But how could such friends be obtained? To survive anywhere in Christendom, Jews needed skills that would make them valuable to those in power. This perhaps is why the Bassano family developed their instrument making and music playing talents. These were skills they could exchange with the nobility for money and a protected status. This intellectually driven but conspiratorial world was the environment from which Shakespeare sprang. Remember, we still describing Emilia Bassano, right? You know, that's a really good way of saying that yourself, right? He said swarthy is what they called them, different from black, right? Yeah, swarthy and black, it's the same, but yeah, it's yeah, in other words, lighter due to the mixing at the time. Yes. Marie, that's funny. Marie said he passed the paper bag test, he wouldn't be in the fields, or he had the color of collection for the protection. Thank you. Thanks. See, y'all here. Y'all here. I like the way you worded that. Thank you, Marie. Thank you. Thank you. The British attitude towards dark skinned people during this era is also made clear in the following commission from the Queen to a merchant named Caspar van Zuden, which calls on him to arrange for the deportation from the country of the Negroes and blackamoors that had crept into the realm. Reference 64. Quote, orders to expel blackamoors and Negroes, 1601. Whereas the Queen's Majesty is discontented at the great number. Ooh, the way they spelled this is just almost like, now you know, sometimes, look, here's okay. And I'm not trying to be vulgar for anybody who's here that's not my skin complexion, right? But the people of my hue would know what I'm talking about, right? Okay, so in here they said, look, so it's different. It's different when black people amongst themselves refer to each other as nigger or nigger. You rarely hear black people calling each other nigger because that seems kind of more derogatory, right? Shucks, not that it's any better, but you hear black people even in jest. Hey, what's up, my nigga? You know, it's almost, it's like they didn't turn the byword into a term of endearment, right? So we're not if people, some people wonder, well, y'all say it all the time, ain't nobody, even when we fighting or whatever, but it's acceptable amongst our people. But somebody of another race said, it's like everybody stop, not just our race of people, but every other race, like, they said that. They're gonna let them get away with that. And I said that because the way they spell nigger in I don't know, it made me feel a type of way when I saw it, and the spelling is different. They spell it Negar, right? And I don't know, for some reason it just kind of, I don't know. Maybe we were trained that when, because the guy that, he's just repeating what was there. But I don't know. I can still kind of tell that that's something that probably need to be worked out of me, right? It's like when you hear somebody of a different race, it's like we immediately take offense. I mean, we don't really, I guess, we really get it. So, but anyway, I digress. But I brought it out. He spelled nigger wrong from the way we would normally spell it if we were to write it. They spelled it Negar. Okay. Let me just go back. This is the order to expel the blackamoors and the Negroes in 1601. Whereas the Queen's Majesty is discontented at the great number of niggers and blackamoors, which are crept into the realm since the troubles between her highness and the king of Spain, and are fostered here to the annoyance of her own people. In order to discharge them out of the country, her majesty hath appointed Casper van Zuden, merchant of Lubeck, for their transportation. This is to require you to assist him to collect such Negroes and blackamoors for this purpose. End quote. Oh, and Shayla, hey girl, hey. Look, have y'all had a chance to go watch any of the movies by Shakespeare yet? The plays or listen to it? Um, if you haven't, if you get a chance, go watch it, y'all. Because if you haven't, you begin to understand more what he's saying. You will be able to see the linkage, um, with the era and the religious, political fighting and all those things going back and forth. It is abundant through Shakespeare's plays, and it's funny. Which one was I watching? I was watching um Othello. Right? Is my mom here? If you go back and watch Othello, like the more modern version, if you watch the more modern version, they use more like people would say like black person today, right? But when they were saying it, it was like Othello the Moor. I'm like, he might as well said Othello the nigga, right? But it was funny watching it because everywhere today, like if it was more modern terms our day, it wouldn't be more, but you could tell every time they said it's Othello the Black or Othello the Moor, bringing clarity to who they was talking about. It was quite hilarious to me to watch that, and you'll kind of see that theme going throughout going throughout Shakespeare's plays and stuff to kind of bring out some things, right? So it's like some of the same stuff that we see happening today. It's been happening for a very long time in regards to people of uh darker hue skin complexion. All right. Emilia's father died when she was 7, and her family somehow arranged for her to be raised by Susan Wingfield, Countess of Kent, and Margaret, Countess of Cumberland. Emilia wrote about their estate of Cookham Dean in her poem, The Description of Cook Ham. She was presumably educated along with the other girls of these noble households, as she later became a tutor to the children of the nobility. It is difficult to speculate as how to Emilia was able to maintain her Jewish identity under such circumstances. However, if the other evidence of Emilia's authorship of Shakespeare that I have presented is deemed acceptable by the reader, then the Jewish agenda of the Shakespearean literature becomes very powerful evidence that Emilia indeed was able to retain her Jewish faith and identity. On the other hand, no other candidate for the authorship of the plays, and certainly not Shakespeare, can explain this extensive Jewish content. And considering her family's Jewish heritage, it is entirely credible that their conversion to Christianity was only a matter of conformance with the royal imperative of the time. At any rate, it is clear from the plays that Shakespeare learned to. I'm sorry. At any rate, it is clear from the Shakes from the I'm getting tongue tied. At any rate, it is clear from the plays that Shakespeare learned to speak a number of languages. Emilia was a native English speaker, but might have been taught Italian and Hebrew by her father and family, and certainly would have studied Latin and French during her aristocratic upbringing. It is entirely possible that Emilia had the early training in a number of languages needed to become one of the most productive wordsmiths in history. Yo, look, let me tell you something. This has probably nothing to do with anything, but sometimes I am when you listen to rappers, of those who are able to put together songs with all these words. Now I read a lot and I love words and being able to oh I didn't I'm getting sidetracked, y'all. Look, they did. I'm gonna have to go watch that. I love Omar Epps. She said pause. They recreated Othello. Yeah. Oh, I think I remember that preview version. I'm gonna have to go look at that. I'm gonna add that to the list, y'all. Play. Oh, I'm gonna have to go. Let me make myself a note. Thank you, Marie. Yes. The one that I watch, well, I put a couple different versions up there, a couple older ones. But I really like the one with Lawrence Fishburne, so I'll probably like the one with Omar Epps even better. I'm gonna see how I'm looking at all of them together and see if they change anything. But so far, they kind of keep the same storyline and stuff, right? But if you can't, some people would rather watch the modern versions because the way they talk in the older versions is really they're it's like the thus thou arts, and it's like if thou wouldst, some people just they'll be reading the movie the whole time because they have the English subtitles, so you can kind of just read along. But sometimes that's too much, right? And your brain will be on fire. So sometimes it's easier to watch the ones that, and although they do it in newer versions, I don't know, I guess because of who plays it, it's easier to understand. And they did it in the one with Lawrence Fishburne, but that was easily understandable to me. So, but yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that one. But anyway, I said all that to say rappers back in the day, they would be called wordsmiths, the ones the ones that have this way with words, and not just rappers, but just people who do a lot of talking and stuff. I like that. This has nothing to do with anything. Like I said, I brought this out because that's what I actually called it the other day, and I didn't realize that he used the same word in here, right? But he used it for those who were really intellectuals and knew different languages and all that stuff. What are supposed to be seen in them? The oh, you talking about seeing in the plays? In all of Shakespeare plays, Mackay Pfeiffer? Okay, Mackay Pfeiffer. Okay. I'm gonna pull it up and see. Thanks, Marie. But in the Shakespearean plays, you will see how you will see how the thread, if you're familiar, first of all, let's just say this, you will see it and understand the thread in the Shakespearean plays if you're familiar with what Josephus and his family did with the New Testament. So remember Josephus, the New Testament was a spoof on Titus's campaign, right? But during that time you had Shakespeare, Amelia Bassano, with all these things going on, and her plays were a spoof on a spoof, so to speak, if that makes sense. So to whereas um um Flavius Titus, not Flavius Titus, Josephus Flavius, where he, in all his literature, even in the New Testament, how he pretty much dumbed down like the Hebrews and made like the Messiah like pro-Roman and stuff with Jesus. Amelia Bassano, clearly they knew because they lived during at the time, and they knew that it was a spoof and kind of like an attack on her people. Her plays did pretty much the same thing but flipped it and did the attack on the Gentiles. And that was kind of explained a little bit too when we was going through the beginning of this book. So when you read in the Shakespearean plays, now that we're familiar with Josephus and everything he's done, it's easy to kind of pick out some of those things that she was using to play on what he did to play and bring disgrace on her people. So yeah, that's what you should be seeing through Shakespeare's plays. But if you're really not aware of what the New Testament is, you just won't get it. And to just be like good entertainment if you like that type of entertainment, right? Yeah. Okay. As a young woman, Amelia attended the court of Elizabeth I and shortly became the mistress to the Queen's first cousin, Henry Carey, Lord Hudson, who was 45 years her senior. Hudson links Emilia to the world of Shakespeare's plays because his acting troupe performed many of them. She became pregnant at the age of 23 and then the I'm sorry. She became pregnant at the age of 23 and then, as was routine with the pregnant mistresses of the lords in this era, was given a farewell and a stipend by Hudson. In October 1592, yeah. In October 1592, she married her cousin, Captain Alfonso Lanier, a Queen's musician and volunteer Navy man. The following the Queen's death, he moved into the service of James I. Emilia's relationship with Nicholas would have been the source of Emilia's knowledge of the arcane jargons of the British military and navy that found its way into the plays. So that kind of answers something we was talking about, what we was talking about earlier about King James, right? He was, let me see, following the Queen's death, he moved into the service of James the First, right? And later they become King James, right? So keep paying attention, y'all. Emilia's relationship with Nicholas would have been the source of Emilia's knowledge of the arcane jargons of the British military and navy that found its way into the plays. Emilia consulted Dr. Simon Foreman, a physician and astrologer, in May 1597, hoping to learn if her husband would receive any preferment so that she might discover whether she should be a lady or no. She was then living in the fashionable era of Longditch, Westminster, next to Cannon Row. Foreman kept a diary describing his interactions with his clients. He found her high minded, which meant either that he saw her as intelligent or that she was interested in the affairs of the aristocracy. Acro, acros, that's the way you say that. Aristocracy. Aristocracy. Yes, that's how I was trying to say it. Okay, aristocracy. Okay. He found her high minded, which meant either that he saw her as intelligent or that she was interested in the affairs of the, I forgot it again, aristocracy. And mysteriously, he wrote that she hath something in mind that she would have done for her. She can hardly keep secret. He also noted her difficult life, stating, it seemeth she had ill fortune in her youth. Emilia again consulted Foreman in June of the same year. She complained that her husband had dealt hardly with her and spent and consumed her goods, presumably both the money she had inherited from her father as well as what she had saved from her allowance from Lord Hudson. She lied when Foreman asked her age, claiming to be 24 when she was actually 28. Look, I know this has nothing to do with anything either, but since they brought the point up, the more I learn and study, and as even me and my family, we grow our personal wealth, I kind of understand, not that, I don't know, I ain't gonna say not that I would have done the same thing, but I may have. But you know how they have arranged marriage, and they still do it in some places. They really do. Like in overseas, they really have arranged marriages, right? It's probably a little more I guess modernized today, where it's not just I'm marrying off my daughter to you, but the reason they did that, right? The reason they did that is because families who had great wealth wanted to keep their wealth, right? And so when they marry off their daughters, the daughters, when they leave, they don't just take her, I'm glad she gone, right? No, she comes with wealth, right? A lot of times and you kind of see that through, not kind of, but you see that even through the Old Testament. But it wasn't just our people that did that, right? There were many other nationalities that did that, who had built great work by the time their children was of marriageable age, right? So if it's a man who's marrying, the female would be joined to the male side of family, because the male, that's the namesake, he gets the inheritance. Even if he's not the king or whatever, each son is left an inheritance, but also the women children as well. And although they don't necessarily, they stay in the family, but they don't stay in a family, because she then takes the name of the man she's married and is now associated with their family. But when she goes, she also takes her wealth with her, right? Thank you, Marie. They did it because of financial wealth. So I can completely understand why they arranged marriages in the way that they did. And especially if you come from a family that had something and they had built wealth, they didn't want their children marrying peasants or beggarly and needy people, because their thoughts were that you come from money, you need to be with somebody who come from money and understands money and knows how to keep money and know how to grow money, not somebody that's living hand to mouth and spending every dime they get. Because if they do that, eventually, if they're stronger than you, they're going to consume all the wealth that we've built up and given to you as an inheritance, and we don't want that. What's love got to do with it, Marie? Exactly. What's love got to do? Got to do with it? Not a goddamn thing. Absolutely nothing. Now, if y'all both poor and come from nothing and y'all build it together, okay, I get that, right? And sometimes people think that may happen for you, but that if that worked for you and your spouse, that may not necessarily happen for you and your children. So I would take the same mindset, like I said, even as we're growing our family wealth, and we're by no means considered in a wealthy class, right? But we think about our children, and we have one that's married, right? So by the time he was married, we not, it's like, okay, whatever. Y'all work this out together, because we still trying to work this out ourselves. We'll teach y'all, you mesh good together and you listen and you take sound advice. Okay, we can grow you up, just like me and my husband kind of grown up in it, right? But as you begin to build that, it becomes more of a fail safe and a protection, because you really can't control anybody else in the upbringing of other people, which is why people look into other families. Okay, who she come from, who her mama, her daddy, what they do, what they got going on, she in debt, like people checking credit scores, like that's a real thing. And I kind of agree with it now. What's his credit score? What's her credit score? Like seriously, because if her credit is trash, she gonna use up your credit, and your credit gonna be trash too, right? And all in the name of love, right? And when you do things, listen, there's a way to do things in love. Now, if you're gonna do something in love, you should keep your senses about yourself, right? Don't be in love, then go completely stupid and blind. And now you living out on the street in a box under a bridge, because love, just all we need is love. Whoever said that clearly was broke. Love will have us living under a bridge, starving, but we love each other. And our love gonna only keep us alive for so long, and then we're gonna die together right here in this box under the bridge. Love ain't got nothing to do with it. Now, love is icing on the cake. Love can be developed. Love can be destroyed. Love can be manipulated. Love can be so many things, right? But if you have a family, a mom and a dad, or whether you have one or the other, whatever, somebody that can give you a good financial education and you are financially literate, you can work out anything else in life. I truly believe that you really can, right? And if you're really wise in your dealings and how you deal with people, you'll begin to look at these things, and you'll become very selective about the group of people you hang around with. And thereby you can kind of control the type of people who will be drawn to you, right? And there are some things that you can kind of do yourself, to kind of keep that. So And I was talking about that by the arranged marriages, right? Because they were literally trying to protect their family's wealth, to protect the wealth that they given to their daughter or whatever, right? So that's why they have arranged marriages. And I think to myself, as we're growing this, I'd be doggone if Bella married, not to be derogatory, but I'm like, I'd be doggone if she married some bum broke without a job. He better be doing something with his life. Like, baby, this is what you need to be looking for. This. Same thing with our boys. Same thing with our boys. You know, she may be a sweet, nice, wholesome girl, but does she have brains? Can she balance a checkbook? Does she spend all her money? Is all her money on her back? Right? Is all her money on her back, on her head, and on her hands? Because if it is, that's a red flag, right? Not saying that she can't have those things, but if she got money on her back and on her head and on her nails, and she driving around in money, right? How is she living? Is she living in money too? Like, if she driving this, because some people they bling out and be all flashy with the cars, but they live in the projects. You see, something ain't right. I can just feel it down in my shot. Nah. She driving a BMW, but she live in a hood. Something ain't right. Either she is financially illiterate or sis got a sugar daddy. A sugar daddy that's halfway stepping, because a real sugar daddy would not have you living in squalor and have you riding around looking like the best thing since sliced bread, right? So her sugar daddy got problems too, because a real good sugar daddy would not have you living in squalor and have you riding around looking like $1,000,000. It needs to add up. You need to be living in a nice house that matches your nice car. All those things, red flags. You got to look at it. So she got to have brains, or and don't marry for potential, right? If you marry for potential, the only time I would say you marry for potential and you got money is if you see the potentialities being played out and being walked in, right? Because unless you're just born into money, your parents had already worked it out, then you're gonna have to kind of build. And you can see that even after give it about a year, possibly 2 years. If they still in the same spot, always complaining about what they don't got and they can never make ends meet, let's revisit the plan you got, sis. Maybe your plan isn't sound. What are you doing? Are you sticking to your plan? Right. So people with potential, you will see them making strides and moving forward. Right. So all of these, I said all that because I completely understand why they married their daughters off into other money. You're noble. You're a royal lineage. You need to marry somebody else from royal lineage, right? Have the same mindset, same goals and things, right? And when it really comes down to it, the people just don't want their wealth squandered into nothingness. All the time they spent building up things, preparing it for their children's children and many generations. No, we people really they with that they're really worried about themselves and what they built, the kingdom that they built, and they don't want it torn down in 1 or 2 generations because you're illiterate, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So in 1613, her husband died the same year that the last Shakespearean play, The Two Noble Kinsmen, was written. Emilia now had to earn her own living since she no longer had the income from her husband's court musician's appointment, and only a portion of the income he had derived from a monopoly on the weighing of hay and straw. She attempted to support herself as a tutor for the children of persons of worth and understanding. In 1617, she leased a new house for that purpose on St. Giles in the Fields, an aristocratic London suburb. She immediately became engaged in a series of lawsuits and countersuits relating to the building and a dispute with a relative over the income from the hay monopoly. Having lost most of her pupils, she left the St. Giles residence in 1619 without paying her midsummer rent, whereupon she was arrested. Okay, look, okay. Marie, she said potential means daydream vision. Talk to me when you made the blueprint with final physical construction. Okay. Thank you. She appears again in the London legal records in 1635 at the age of 66, claiming that she was obliged to provide for two grandchildren and was in misery because she was being cheated out of her full entitlement to the income from the Hay royalties. The lawsuits continued for 3 years. She died in April 1645 at age 76, a pensioner, meaning that she was possessed of some regular income. She had at least two children. The first, presumably the son of Lord Huns, Hunsdon, was named Henry and had been born early in 1593. She also had a daughter who died in infancy. The next section is the Bassanos and the music of the plays. I think we're gonna stop shortly after this section because we already at 55 minutes. But it's Saturday, right? But I can't really say that long because we got something planned for the kids today. The Shakespearean plays are intensely musical, and the focus on music in the plays suggests that their author came from an environment that included some study of it. Most of the plays refer to music in their text, and there are in total more than 300 musical stage directions. The plays incorporate about 100 ballads, popular songs, and other secular music. In the early history plays, the musical references tend to be limited to flourishes of trumpets, drums, and alarms, such as in Troilus and Cressida. However, by the middle period, the plays began to incorporate more sophisticated music, such as the consort of mixed instruments in Midsummer Night's Dream and the use of hautboys in Antony and Cleopatra. This increasingly this increasingly sophistication leads to the integrated use of ballads in The Winter's Tale. As Ross Duffin has pointed out, the playwright also uses song titles as literary puzzles. For instance, the character Rogero in The Winter's Tale is intended to remind the audience of a ballad by that name and thereby bring up the imagery of a jealous husband who killed his wife. Reference 65. Many of the songs used in the Shakespearean plays can be seen as autobiographical to Emilia Bassano. The heroine of the song Oyster Pie, mentioned in Taming of the Shrew, there's a Roman numeral 4. 4. Taming of the Shrew, Act 4. What is it? No. Act 4, line 2. Yeah, Act 4, line 2. Hold on, let me just read it over. The heroine of the song Oyster Pie, mentioning in Taming of the Shrew, Act 4, verse 2, goes to church not for devotion's sake, but to spy out the one who will be her true love. The female subject of the high ho for a husband, mentioned in Much Ado About Nothing.
Hey, guess what?
Oh, you talking to me now, Mr. Murphy?
You pregnant?
I am not pregnant.
Add number 7.
Here he go with his shenanigans.
Put it on the wall, Jack. Add the number up.
The female subject of high ho for a husband.
Female subject. No, I'm joking.
Mentioned in Much Ado About Nothing.
Hold up, wait a minute. We want this big train.
Act 3, line 4, and Act 2,
you
line
said,
1.
am I talking to you?
I said,
I just spoke to you this morning, babe.
You talked to me like I was some woman on the street.
Stop.
Call it now.
Stop.
He said,
stop.
Pam. Now listen.
No, I didn't say Pam. I said, babe.
No, you didn't. You called me by my name.
Babe, you went in there and took your teeth.
You said, Pam, are you cooking breakfast
said,
this morning? I'm like, oh, you calling me Pam. Like,
all right, go ahead.
I feel some type of way. Like, that's my name. It's not derogatory, but I'm like, oh, he called me by my name. Something is wrong. Like,
you ain't got no name. Your name, babe.
We shouldn't get mad when they call us by name because that is our name. We love our name. We love the sound of our name. Yeah. When you call me by my name, no, I'm not pregnant. No, they're saying congratulations.
Is it by your name or is it the tone that's spoken?
It's both. It's both.
No, which one is it?
It's both.
It can't be Pam. I mean, come on.
You should only be saying my name when you're describing who I am. My wife, Pamela. But
oh, got you. Okay. I'll take that one. All right.
Just like if I'd been like, okay, James, you know,
is it no? Okay, but I understand where you're going with it. But
we had a little dispute.
But if it's not how it's said, it's how it's received. Just remember that.
I think it's a bit of both, Mr. Murphy.
It is.
If I could roll my eyes harder, I would roll them off this screen.
Go ahead and finish reading your doggone Shakespeare theory. I mean, we could go all night. You know that. This is just what it ain't nothing.
Jake, look, Jake.
What we do. This is what we do.
Uncle JB, happy rising. He said, "Oh wow, congratulations." I'm not pregnant.
She don't. Listen,
like people saying congratulations, like they would like.
But listen though,
my husband is a jokester.
Listen,
y'all see me acting crazy sometimes. My husband is like pure comedy in our house all day long. What you don't want to do is stop.
What the Father want to
bless. I see. We have this conversation live. I can tell you what my husband gonna say.
Don't put your mouth on something. Children are blessed. Don't put your mouth on something. Stop cursing. People curse themselves.
I'm not cursing
because
myself.
of what they say out their mouth, and everybody know it. But guess what? They just can't stop doing it. You gotta stop it, and you gotta talk blessings.
Yes. Let me fix my
creativity.
Put my eyes back in my face.
Into your life. Bring it in. Bring it all in.
Let me just keep my eyes.
Because after you get off of this.
Can y'all see me rolling my eyes under my eyelids?
Oh my God. Go on forward. All right, go ahead. I'm
done. Why are you always trying to impregnate me?
Because you're impregnatable.
Do you know how long it's an investment? I think of. Look at this.
But think about this. And what I always say to you.
Because I nurse, there's a 2-year attachment to my physical body.
If money is not an object.
I'm 43 years old.
Wait a minute. Listen, what I always say.
43? I'm about to be 40.
What I always say. If money is not an object, imagine how many people will really live out their dreams. If money is not the object.
Well, I agree with that.
But then when I hold back.
They wouldn't.
Because they're used to it. It's not that they will abuse it. They're not going to abuse it. Imagine the life of some people. They will really live out their dreams, honestly.
James said she's sensitive when she's pregnant, huh? Look here. Look, Trina, we got to get with you and your husband. We got to go out and do dinner or something soon since y'all.
We got to get an event. Let's get something jumping. But anyway, think about it.
This gonna be the end of my reading here, y'all. You come downstairs and get me all sidetracked and stuff.
Think about it.
Thank you, Jake. Whose side are you on?
Man, listen, but think about it.
He said, "Be careful. It's still ladies having babies in their 40s." Laugh out loud.
It is, but I mean, the thing is this. My daddy always told me this. Honestly, you know, what I have to do is be considerate of my wife, only because she's the one carrying. I'm not carrying the child.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Thank you.
So be considerate. My daddy always have said that. Quit being selfish, boy, and think about that woman. Guess what? I am thinking about it. That's the reason why I'm pregnant.
This is the end of our reading today. Let me find my sticker.
Bella somebody that she can play with. I want to get her.
You know how many cousins, female cousins she got?
Ain't the same, Jack.
Blessed be my sister's wombs. We had all boys. She had all girls. She got playmates.
I got one more. I got another bullet in the chamber, and it's coming out running. I'm telling you, it's coming out hot, fast. But anyway, it's already. You keep on talking.
No, he's not joking. He is absolutely not joking. Right? Like he's really serious. Like
but
he's
listen,
on
hold
a
on,
mission.
Wait. If you're gonna tell a little bit, of the truth,
again,
tell the whole truth.
What's the whole truth?
And what you be saying?
What I be saying? Ain't no shame in my game. What I be saying? Tell it. We're gonna turn this into a marriage counseling session. Let's go.
What you say?
Let's go. What I say?
You want to be pregnant?
When did I say that?
Oh,
was I in my right sense?
No, every time.
No, you cannot hold those words against me at that time.
Bye. You need to get off the line.
Goodbye. No, look.
People wonder why 20 years. All right. Cool.
Lord have mercy. Is that all y'all do all day long? When do y'all ever have a chance to get business done? Yo, in between business. All day, every day.
Enough is enough. There's enough laugh. Go in there and bless the people.
We gotta get out of here.
We got things to do.
Robert said, he said, James, I'm working on getting Trina pregnant too.
Hey, work on it, boss. Let's get this thing together. Wrap it up, baby. Let's get it. Hey.
Oh, you about to get him hype over here. Oh my God.
It's happening. I call it in the habit, so it's gonna happen ASAP.
Y'all know what happened? Was y'all pregnant? I mean, not pregnant. Was y'all present? See, you got me in my words.
Look at that, boy. I tell you,
the last few children, if y'all been present for my videos, I don't even stop my videos when I go into the hospital to have a baby. We doing the lives from the hospital.
She is beautiful.
I introduce y'all to the baby and everything.
And this is
that's her playmate right there. What's her name, Tootie?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I forgot what you named her. What's her name? Doll. Okay, Doll.
Okay. All right, that's fine.
All right, y'all. That is.
We have a surprise today. We're doing something wonderful today.
You're so excited. We're so excited. We know you don't know. Okay, y'all. This is enough. All right. But yes, children. I do.
Murphy take over.
I really do. I love children. I really do. Hence, I wouldn't have 6, and we would actually have 7 had I not had a ectopic pregnancy back in 2010. Right, we would have 7. Right, but we said
if your girl lady hasn't came in about a month or 2.
I keep tabs on sis.
I do too, and she ain't came.
Right, because we got a new moon and everything, sis.
God,
we in alignment with the stars and the clock.
The Nile is just not a river in Egypt. God.
I am not in denial, but as I'm getting older, it's a little bit harder to get this body weight off of me. Granted, Bella is 5. And this is not just baby fat.
It's not our normal 2-year increment.
Oh, yes, right. Because if y'all know me, y'all know I was pregnant every 2 years. After the second one, every 2 years, popping out a baby, right? And I'm shocked.
Thank you to the one who did it. I mean, never mind. Go ahead.
The Father in heaven.
Yeah. And on earth.
And the Father here on earth. Mr. Murphy.
Nah.
Thank you.
Hey, but nah, it's but nah, man, go and bless the people, man. We can do this all night. You know that.
Yeah, we can. We gonna have to start our own like marriage. Marie said, "Yo, you guys are hilarious." Your husband said, "It's coming out hot." She said, "I'm done." This is just the tamed version of our conversations. Like, this is the tamed version, y'all. All right, y'all. Let's get out of here. Thank you for joining me today for today's reading. It is November the 6th, 2021.
So you can disrupt.
Day 200.
You can disrupt.
And 95. Let me focus, Pam. Year 3. Day 295.
That is about to go down.
Of reading through the books
to go down, baby.
and the prophets of the 3-year consecutive day count. Day 963. We read Psalms 74 through 76. I love it. We read Shakespeare's Secret Messiah, page 146. So where I stop at? Page 151.
Go wash your face. Brush your teeth.
All right, beautiful people. Let's go ahead and let's do the blessing. I think I said everything I was supposed to say.
Man, take that thing.
What?
That thing got roaches.
What?
Why y'all bringing the thing in the house? I'm joking.
She ain't got roaches. What are you talking about?
Joking, man. I just never know, we ain't bought that.
That's Simba.
It don't look like it. But anyway. Go wash your face and brush your teeth, man.
Well, I tell you, the shenanigans, there is no end to the shenanigans.
Like Nala. Don't like no symbol.
Like who?
Nala.
He talking about this lion. My niece gave to my son one of her stuffed animals. You know, she getting rid of stuff. That's like, oh, can I have it? It was a lion from Lion King.
We trying to get rid of stuff.
You know, kids and their stuffed animals and stuff. Yeah.
Hey, let me see.
All right, y'all.
Change her. She about to go swimming. I like that.
The blessing is found in Numbers chapter 6, verses 23 to 27. Tudy, we about to do the blessing.
Oh, wow.
And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, on this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, Yahuwah will kneel before us, presenting gifts, and guard us with a hedge of protection. Yahuwah will illuminate the wholeness of his being towards us, bringing order, and he will provide us with love, sustenance, and friendship. Yahuwah will lift up his wholeness of being and look upon us, and he will set in place all we need to be whole and complete. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, beautiful people.
Go out, be fruitful, and have babies. Enjoy your day as if it was your last. Because guess what?
What?
We are.
That is the end of our sitcom show. It's the Murphys for today. All right, y'all. Shalom. Yesab, everybody. All right, love y'all. See y'all tomorrow. Bright and early, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
You ready to eat, Mom?
Trina said we cracking up at y'all. Start planning the play dates.
Hey, it's called Have Baby Dates.
Bella, go ahead and end this video. Come on, look. Go and end the video. All right, y'all. She about to press it too.
And get out of there.
Get it out of there. Okay, go ahead. All right, y'all.
Babies, Jack.
Bye, y'all.
See y'all in 24 hours to come up with